fact that I'm standing here doing this video right now tells me that my life has purpose. And if you're sitting here watching this right now, it tells me that your life has purpose. And maybe today is the message that you're supposed to get to remind you that if you're not already living a life of purpose, that today is the day that you're going to start, because you're going to relate to the messages that I share with you. And I want to relate to you that I believe that I'm here for a purpose, because at least one of the craziest things that I ever did in my life was a reason why I perhaps should not be here. And it happened during the middle of my drinking and using career down in Fort Lauderdale. One night I went into a nightclub and I met a gal, and she wanted to party with some cocaine. I wasn't familiar with that part of town, so we drove back to her house to discuss where I might be able to get some. Her neighbor overheard us and said, "Hey, I know where you can get some. There's a gal named Michelle on the other side of town, and if you go over and see her, she's got everything you want." And I'm like, great. So I start backing out of the driveway, and the neighbor yells to me, "Hey, you might want to be a bit careful though." I said, "Why is that?" And he said, "She just got out of prison." I said, "Oh, okay." And then I said, "Well, what did she get out of prison for?" And he said, "She just killed a man." I'm like, "What?" "Yeah, she killed a man and she was in prison and she just got out." I'm like, even with that knowledge, I decided that I wanted to party so much, and that's how warped my mind was, that I drove over to that part of Fort Lauderdale, somewhere I'd never been. I see Michelle on the sidewalk. She's got a gun on her hip. She gets into my car. She could have just blown me away and taken my money, and nobody would have ever known. But that's how warped my mind was. And those are the challenging situations that I put myself in when I was drinking and using. Then I got sober, and then life just happened. I got a job on a cruise ship, and I was working on that ship. And one day I went into the men's room, the head as we call it on the boat, and one of the deckhands left a big open hole right in front of where I was stepping out of. I had no idea. Stepped into that hole, shredded my leg, lost a ton of blood, sat on my cabin bunk for 2 hours with a towel and a belt wrapped around my leg trying to keep me from bleeding to death. It was a crazy day. Why the captain didn't call the Coast Guard, I have no idea. But it should have been done, but it wasn't. The point is, I survived. And so just those two instances alone should tell you that I am alive for a purpose. And when God asked me to do these videos, I jumped right into it. And so he has me making them, clearly, for someone, perhaps yourself, who needs to hear that your life, no matter how many crazy choices you've made along the way, no matter how much life has kicked you in the groin, knocked you over the head, you have a purpose. And if you're not living your purpose yet, I pray that today you realize that you're here for a purpose. You have greatness in you, because God made you and he only makes the greatest. So I pray today that if you're not doing so already, that you will realize that everything you lived up until this point is your testimony, your story, and your story matters. You matter. And today, if you're not doing so already, I pray that you'll begin living your life of purpose.